What is up and welcome to That Crafty Gamer. With the new Call of Duty coming out soon, I decided to make the heat treat knife from the previous game. So the first step was to create the outline of the knife on a piece of metal stock. I simply cut out a picture of the knife from the game that I thought was a good size and used that as the stencil. I then proceeded by cutting the shape out using an angle grinder. Once the blade was fully cut out, I sanded the edges down to get flat surfaces. I cleaned it up with a rotary tool and some sanding bands. I then filed down a section of the spine with a round file for the thumb grooves that I had slotted earlier with an angle grinder. Then I drilled 2 holes so I could fit a triangle file in and start shaping the area. I drilled out the lanyard hole with increasing bit size until I reached my desired dimension. I then sanded down the blade where there is a step from the handle to the blade in the design. Once it was sanded down to a thickness I liked, I marked where the plunge line should be. I also covered the edge in marker so I could scratch in a center line. Next, I began beveling the edge with a sander. I started by freehand but did the majority of it with a jig. After that, I slightly beveled the lanyard hole and the sides of the handle just to keep it from cutting the holder's hand. Next it was time for one of the most consuming parts, hand sanding. I started at 80 grit and worked my way up to 2000.
Where is it written that all our dreams must be small?
After sanding, it was time to start the heat treat. The first step is to heat the blade until it becomes demagnetized. Once the blade got up to a nice straw color, I ran a small magnet across it to make sure it was demagnetized. A quick side note here is that it looks black because it's in direct sunlight, so you can't see the glow of the heat. I then heated up a spare piece of metal and dunked it in the quenching oil in order to warm it up for the blade quench. I do this to the oil because it helps the oil cool the metal faster. Then it's time to quench the blade. After it cooled down, I placed it on an oven pan and tempered it at 550 degrees for 40 minutes. Now, this tempering heat is not the normal tempering I do, this is specific for the heat treat blade. After it cooled, I cleaned it up by sanding it with all the varying sandpaper grits that I had done earlier. It's easier and takes less time if you ran the blade through the grits before the heat treatment.
Where is it written that all our dreams must be small?
Then it was on to the second tempering, which will give the blade the purple and blue coloring. I put it in the oven at 550 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes. Tempering softens the steel so it doesn't fracture on impact, so I normally keep this process to one cycle, but in order to get the color I wanted, I felt adding a second cycle was okay. I also sharpened the blade before tempering to keep the color untouched. Unfortunately, the recording was corrupted. The last step after the blade was cool was to add the paracord handle. This was trickier than I thought it would be due to the double color lace-up design. First I had to glue the orange paracord in a loop to itself around the handle. Then I looped the black paracord and slid it onto the handle as well. I pulled the orange paracord over one line and under the other line of the looped black paracord. This locked the two together and let me begin the main design. The orange paracord was pulled down while the black one was pulled up. When they met on the other side, I looped them to each other. I always loop them with the black cord on top and the orange one on the bottom. This makes the black cord into a horseshoe shape and the orange into a folded shape. I kept it the same because the consistency of it looks good. I repeated the process all the way up until I reached the lanyard hole where I put the black paracord through and slipped both end pieces under the weave on either side. I cleaned up the excess cord and then it was ready to go. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Don't forget I have an Instagram linked in the bio below. Thanks for watching. Bye.